All right, what's up? I'm back again. This time, hopefully, with a quicker video. Might not be too quick, but trying to just kind of piece together some of these disparate elements of the topic of conspiracy and government and CIA involvement and things like that. Now, I don't know what we would replace the CIA with, or if the CIA needs to be completely replaced, but I think that for sure, if anything, there needs to be at least another part of the government that can actually like check on what they're doing. Because you've seen like that Bobby Seals movie where he was like smuggling cocaine or whatever. And, there's been a lot of other different operations. Like, I'm not saying every person in the CIA is a bad person, but it just seems that because the agency itself operates in this area where there's not a lot of oversight over what they're doing, it can lead easily to corruption because there's no oversight. So, maybe not replacing the CIA, but, having it have some type of oversight, not like where they have to report everything they're doing to the public, but at least we know that there's some other maybe non-biased people that have some authority to stop them from doing things if it's like not the correct thing to do. So anyway, got a few articles here that kind of will lay out some interesting points that might connect some dots as to what's going on here. First, we have this article, Lie, Cheat, and Steal. And then basically, I'll show you in a second, it has a bunch of different known CIA operations that were scientific operations where they were considered immoral after them being done. And so we'll just look at this one first to kind of prove a point about what's going on. First, we can see this quote right here. I was the CIA director. We lied. We cheated. We stole. Mike Pompeo, right? So here's a good example of how they operate and how kind of deep and like it is kind of like a 4D chess kind of thing or 3D chess, whatever. It says 9 years later, still in pursuit of bin Laden, the CIA infamously staged a fake hepatitis vaccination program in Pakistan. What they were actually doing was collecting DNA samples without informed consent in an attempt to track down bin Laden's family members. Parabon Nanolabs, a company founded by ex-CIA officer Stephen Armentrout, used a similar genetic genealogical method to locate the Golden State Killer in 2016. Parabon subsequently faced backlash from ethicists, privacy experts, and genealogists who feared the abuse of genetic profiling, especially against vulnerable populations like immigrant detainees and asylum seekers, whose genetic material the U.S. government has been collecting since 2019. Parabon has also claimed that their proprietary phenotype technique, Snapshot, can generate virtual mugshots of suspects based on their DNA samples, in spite of a storm of criticism from geneticists. Right. Now, I mean, if they actually find some DNA in a crime scene, I don't see a problem with using this type of technology. But I think there is some ethical concern when you are talking about blanket scanning everyone, and especially when they're tricking people into it. Now, this really needs to be focused on this part right here, where it says they've staged a fake hepatitis vaccination program, but what they were doing was collecting DNA samples without consent, right? And so here we can see that I have a video from 4 years ago where I was talking about China is stealing your wife's DNA, and a company called Illumina was working with China. And then there's an article here about how China's gene harvesting was using the actual COVID test that they were, this is what the article is about, that they were using the COVID test in order to harvest the DNA from millions of American women, and specifically from Caucasian women in America, because they have some type of DNA that the Chinese want, right? And so they were using the COVID test in order to see, look, there's another video right here. Why China's stealing America's DNA, right? And here's another video. China wants your DNA. See, so I'm not crazy. I'm not making this stuff up. See, you can check these articles. You can check this out, right? So that's just one thing, right? Then we can go into who like started the CIA, right? And then this article is basically discussing how the Skull and Bones was created and how this movie, The Good Shepherd, is very historically accurate about the fact that the Skull and Bones, Yale Skull and Bones Society, basically is a feeder organization, like I was talking about before, for the CIA. So people go into this, and then if they do all the things that they tell you to do in the Skull and Bones, and they have the correct psychological profile, then they get invited to be in the CIA, right? And so that's what this article is basically about. It's the guy saying that, you know, a lot of the reason why people didn't like the movie is because it was really boring, and that he actually agrees with a lot of the criticism. See right here where it says, they, like this reviewer, found the movie tedious. You know, that's what he's saying that was bad about it. But then he's talking, you know, the movie's talking about Bay of Pigs invasion, and it doesn't shy away from, you know, talking about the CIA. But basically, he said the one criticism that he has of it is that it was painted more as like it being an anti-communist type of thing, where he feels that it's just something that shouldn't exist, right? So again, we can see that, you know, in the movies, things in movies are sometimes true. Not every movie, but there's a certain strain of movies that has this truth element in it, right? And then we can see that going into the presidency that was going to lead up we can see that both Bush and Kerry were both members of Skull and Bones. So, like I said before, no matter who you vote for, you still get the same party. It's a uniparty thing, right? And the uniparty is connected to Skull and Bones. It's connected to secret societies. They're not all in the same secret society, but there's like a college of secret societies, and they all know about each other. And you can only get into certain ones if you have certain personality types. I know it sounds kind of silly, but really, like, Harry Potter really does lay this out the best, where it's like, you know, they're in Slytherin house or they're in whichever Gryffindor. Like, I mean, it sounds like stupid, but that's kind of how it works. You get psychologically profiled, and then if you're a bad guy, you get put in the bad guy club, and if you're a good guy, you get put in the good guy club. You know, and if you're a smart guy, they put you in the smart guy club, and if you're a physical guy, they put you in the physical guy club, right? And that's kind of how it works, right? It's kind of dramatized, but that's basically how it kind of works, like the Harry Potter thing, right? Go into the secret world behind the curtain where nobody else knows that it exists, right? And then you get psychologically categorized as either a good guy, a bad guy, right? And then so we can see here in this last little clip that, again, there's a connection with, this is from the movie Long Kiss Goodnight that came out in 1996. And the plot is that Gina Davis is a sleeper agent for the CIA that had some type of mind control, mind altering process done to her where she forgot that she was a secret agent. She was a sleeper agent. Then she was triggered by some type of event that triggered her and turned her back into her original CIA agent form. And now this is where the bad guys, because like I'm saying, everybody in the military and CIA is not a bad person. I would say the majority are good. But when they don't have any oversight, and then these kind of like black ops side crews pop out because they have access to the equipment, they have access to the high level information, and they have access to loyal teams of people that are willing to follow them, it can become dangerous, so let's just play this clip real quick and see what it says and see if it makes any sense.
I'm gonna miss you, Major. You aren't ready to stay dead. You don't know the rules of the game anymore.
Tell me about it. 8 years ago, this guy was on the hit list.
Budget cuts, dear.
See what I'm saying? It's like, it almost seems like it can't be that realistic, but it really is.
Congress blinded us overseas. I was forced to turn to any eyes and ears I could find, even if that meant recruiting the quote-unquote bad guys here.
Budget cuts.
See what he's saying? Even if he has to recruit the bad guys. And who knows what level these projects go up to, It's very similar in Stargate too, and Stargate SG-1, nearing the end seasons of Stargate SG-1, it was revealed that there was a secret covert black ops team that was working against the main Stargate SG-1 team, right? And they were going around trying to collect the same types of technology and stuff, but to use them for nefarious purposes. And it's not the whole organization. It's a subgroup that has access. They have the psychological profile and they have access to the same tools as the good guys. So it's not, you see what I'm saying? It's not like everyone in it is doing it.
Is that what this is about? Operation Honeymoon. Fuck me. You're running a fundraiser.
Fundraiser?
1993. World Trade Center bombing, remember? During the trial, one of the bombers claimed the CIA had advanced knowledge.
That was also proven true. That there was a CIA agent that was working with them. And some people might even argue that it was entrapment because of the fact that he was kind of organizing a lot of the things. And I think the shocking part to most people was the fact that it was supposed to be a setup where, that makes sense. That would make sense that if you send out an agent and say, hey, we're looking for people that want to commit this serious crime. And then when a bunch of people show up to do it, then you kind of monitor them or whatever. I think that makes sense. But then the fact that somehow throughout that process, they were still able to get a hold of real explosives and actually get all the way underneath the World Trade Center while there was a CIA agent attached to what they were doing, right? How does that happen? It's very interesting. I can see if they were doing the entrapment and then there was no real explosives and those guys got arrested or interrogated or whatever prior to the explosion. But once they introduced the real explosives and then the CIA agent is there allowing them to still go ahead and do it, it really does call into question what's actually happening with the CIA, like what's really happening, right?
The diplomat who issued the terrorist visa was CIA. It's not unthinkable they paved the way for the bombing, purely to justify a budget increase.
You're telling me that you're gonna fake some terrorist thing just to scare some money out of Congress?
Well, unfortunately,
Whoa, 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 whoa. They wrote that in a Hollywood script? Whoa.
Mr. Hennessy, I've no idea how to fake killing 4,000 people.
See, that's my thing. Like, you have to understand, these people, these evil, like, subgroup of the military have no, like, reservations about killing people. Think about it. You know, there's people in the military that are there to defend their family and they don't want to hurt other people, but they feel it's necessary. And then there's a subgroup of people with a psychological profile that feels no remorse. They feel no remorse if they're just a cold, logical, calculating, you know, I guess you could say very pragmatic type of person that looks at, you know, costs and rewards, and they don't really see human life in the same way that the general public does.
So we're just gonna have to do it for real. Oh, blame it on the Muslims, naturally. Then I get my funding. Good night, old girl. Down at the LDN shop.
Roll credits. See, I mean, that's all we really need to see of that clip, right? And this is in a movie, 1996, right? And then, I mean, should we really just do the other one? What's this guy? Because I saw it right here. Right here again. We've got the lone gunman thing. Oh, no, wait, that's not it.
Hey, Mitch.
I'm gonna miss you, Major.
Swear to God.
You aren't ready to stay dead. You don't know the rules of the game anymore.
Tell me about it. 8 years ago, this guy was on the hit list.
Let me just look it up. Right, you know, we're just going over this real quick because it needs to be like rehashed because people are just skipping over all this stuff and going straight to the transvestigation, which is not really like the most pertinent part of the stuff. See this? Come on. I mean, this is X-Files. It was released like a week before, or like, it was released in April 2001. It's about them flying remote control planes into the Twin Towers. Come on. And this is what I'm saying. These guys talking about, oh, whatever in the movies, it's like, it's way deeper than they want to admit, and they just want to fight you. They want to fight you to the death, that there's no such thing as a conspiracy. There's no such thing as anybody doing this, the type of stuff. There's no CIA involvement. They just want to fight you, fight you, fight you. No, it's just about the interpretation. No, it's not. It's really real. It's really in there. They put it in there. They put the messages in there because that's how they disseminate the messages to their people without having to meet up in a centralized location where they can be discovered as working together. That's how it works, right? You read this article and then you see this one, right? It's got all the stuff. The Phoenix program. MK Ultra, Operation Paperclip. See, I'm not crazy. This is real stuff. And then even scientific disinformation. So I can see why people don't trust the science. I'm not blaming people that don't trust the science, but there's certain things that are just provable because they're used in like medicine and electronics and things like that. They are used. It is a sort of engineering of sorts, and it's provable that the theories work because they're in use. But everything, yeah, like they can fake. This is what they're saying, that they will fake scientific information if it is suitable to control the population, right? Forged medical documents reporting outbreaks, right? Forged medical documents reporting outbreaks. You see? So, yeah. That's basically what I had to say in this video. Definitely check out The Lone Gunman pilot and check out That Long Kiss Goodnight. You can watch the whole movie. It's a good movie actually, and it really shows how these type of like things. I'm not sure about the whole like MK Ultra Manchurian Candidate thing is possible, but sleeper agents are a real thing. Most of the governments use them. Russia has sleeper agents in the U.S. and China probably too. So, and there could be Muslim sleeper agents as well. But the fact that they were working with the CIA is very interesting. Like they're always working with the CIA. Right. So that's it. Have a good day and peace.